Hello, folks. I thought I would give you an update on, you remember a couple months ago when I had tried to start berries from seed? It's kind of like a rocking chair. And I had also planned to enter the sunflower challenge. Well, I thought I'd do an update for you guys and let you know what happened with that. The berries, okay, this is the story with the berries. Originally, I had planned to perhaps go to the hardware store and order some berry plants, just the exact ones that I want, some blueberries and raspberries. That's what I wanted to get in my berry patch. Well, then this virus thing kind of happened and everything got shut down for a little while. So I thought, you know what, plan B. I had seen somebody try and grow berries from seed. What they did was they took berries, blended them up, let the seeds sink down and settle, and then they used that seed, to grow berry plants. I had blueberries, raspberries, and I also had fireweed seed that I had saved from the year before because I wanted to grow some, native flowers along the edge of my garden. And so, yeah, I had those three. I ended up planting them into 3 separate tubs. And then, I ended up watering way too much. But then I was looking to see, well, how long does it take them to germinate? Because that's a question I had in the comment section. And it was sometimes a month or more. So I was like, oh my gosh, I hope I have the patience. Well, I put them outside by the greenhouse and they got wet, too dry, too wet, too dry. And, I just finally lost patience because nothing was germinating, nothing was coming up. So I ended up just using that soil for something else. And so yeah, then I was like, okay, plan C. What do I do next for berries? Well, I ended up borrowing some blueberry cuttings, and I had a tub of just regular soil mix I use for my veggie starts, and I put in some rooting powder, and then I jammed the cuttings into that, and then I put them out and kind of hoped that they would do well. Well, I had tried this once before last year, but it was at the end of the year when the berry plants that were already kind of dying off, so it didn't work. So I thought, well, maybe this time I put rooting powder in it, maybe it'll work this time. Well, they just slowly died off. So that's kind of where that's been. Anyway, but raspberries, I've had a couple of people offer to give me some of their, raspberry plants. And I just never followed up because I just was too busy with other things. But one day Tyler came in and he had a bunch of these pots of little raspberry plants because John and Sue had potted them up for me. So I'm super excited. I think what I'm going to do with those is take them and plant them in near the potatoes, because the hugelkultur out there is was meant for berry plants, but I ended up using it for potatoes because I didn't have any berry plants. Well, I think that's what I'm going to do. Plant the plants in there, the raspberry plants in there, and then, harvest the potatoes, then kind of maybe mulch around the new berries, and hopefully they'll make it through the winter. Anyway, that's kind of plan with that. As far as fireweed, I'm not going to try and do seed again. I think I'm just going to take some mature plants, maybe even if I get around to it this summer, and plant them along some mature plants out. They're wild. They grow around everywhere wild, so I could just dig them up and plant them. And I think that they actually might have a better chance of doing well. So anyway, that is the story with the berry seeds and the fireweed seed. It didn't work. And as far as the sunflower challenge, this is Nick's Allotment Diary, does the sunflower challenge every year. Yeah, so what happened was I had some extra little soil blocks when I was doing my veggie starts. So I thought, well, I'll just plant some little sunflower seeds in these extra blocks, and then I'll enter the sunflower challenge, and it'll be great. Well, I didn't have any regular sunflower seeds that in a little packet. So I used this wild bird seed that we use to feed squirrels sometimes. And I picked out the biggest ones. I thought, okay, let's try this. I stuck them into the soil blocks and watered them in. Way too much water. And nothing came up. And nothing came up, and nothing came up. And I said, oh, well, I guess that's it. So what I did was I was like, okay, well, I'm not going to give up yet. I went to the store, bought some sunflower seed packets and some calendula, because I thought I'd put them together. They'd all grow up and they'd be this spectacular display. Well, I didn't end up getting to doing that. I kept saying, oh, I gotta plant this. Well, I didn't ever plant them. But one day I was walking by that little container and I saw a little sunflower shoot coming out, because before all I had been growing was mushrooms. So I see this little sunflower shoot. I'm thinking, oh my gosh, okay, I've got to do something. I take the little guy, I put him in a little pot, and I put him out in the greenhouse with the cucumbers. So then he's sitting there and sitting there. I'm not getting to him. So finally, I got to get him in a bigger pot or he's just going to die. So I put him in this pot. And this is actually a very special pot because it has a story behind it. When Tyler and I first got this property, I couldn't have a garden that year because we were spending all the time building the house. So my friend Terry got me this pot full of lettuces that she had grown, and she says, here, Catherine, this is your garden for the year. And it was so nice. And so then she said, go ahead and keep the pot. So I have this pot here, and so I decided to put my sunflower in this pot. And anyway, this is him. He's very little, and I don't think he's going to win anything. I don't think that he can win anything, but I am growing him, and I am now officially entering him into the Sunflower Challenge very late. Because this is the thing, folks, that here in Southeast Alaska, kind of midway through August, you'll start feeling the chill in the air, like fall is coming. So we're at the very beginning of August, which means we have a couple of weeks of summer left, and then it's just going to start getting cold. That's typically what happens. So I don't know that he's going to get big enough before it gets too cold. But anyway, you never can tell. Maybe we'll have this really nice end of summer. Yeah, so what happened was, because this whole summer's been raining and raining and raining. We did have a couple of days of sun. It was amazing, but I did take a picture of the temperature because we got up to 80 degrees. It was amazing. So harvesting and delivering Thursday, Friday. I took the cover off the poly low tunnel because it was warm, and so then I could harvest. I actually ended up still using my first succession of Salanova lettuce because the regrowth was enough, and that allowed me to let the second succession of lettuce grow a little bit more. Unfortunately, the stuff I put in with the lettuce mix, my spinach has bolted. I got a few little minor cuttings off of it, which was nice, but the leaves were bitter this week, so I couldn't put it in there. So I relied only on my baby chard, Fire Fresh chard, and a little bit of orach that I could pick in the greenhouse. And I put that in with a lettuce mix. And so the salad pack this week was a bag of lettuce mix. I had some cucumbers for some people and some sugar snap peas for other people. And I also had radishes. So my second patch of radishes was ready. And I was super excited. I pulled up a couple. They were big enough. So I promised the world to everyone. And then I went out to harvest that day. And actually a lot of them were really small. So I really had to squeak by trying to get radish bunches for everybody. And then I also had some green onions, scarlet and Italian kale, rainbow chard, and also basil. And it was the end of the day on Friday. After delivering to everybody, the sky kind of clouds up and we got a thunderstorm. And it's been raining, kind of raining off and on pretty much ever since. So that's been our summer. It's been crazy. Yeah, and my last thing of cilantro and dill starts, I decided to plant here in the greenhouse because they've just been bolting to seed outside. And so I thought I'd see if they wouldn't do a little bit better in here. So we'll see how it goes. That's my update. I'll see you guys next week.
Okay, is that a weed or is that a little blueberry plant coming up? To be continued.